hello there. I am Taylor, and you are listening to the Surviving Maine Podcast Deep-Dive interview series. About over a year ago now, I spoke with most of the cast of Surviving Maine Season 4, just weeks after they played the game. So these interviews are untainted by the edited show. It's just how each player remembers their game, what was important to them, what were their favorite moments, what are their regrets. These interviews I've been doing since season 2, and they're just kind of a way for the players to have a cathartic expression of their game. My 8th interview is with one of my very favorite players, and probably most people's favorite. I don't know. She kind of popped off the screen a little bit. Is Alyson. Alyson, hello.
Oh,
How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm good. You, from what I've heard, played a really good game, and you were taken out in the best way possible because you were a threat. Is this right? Yes.
I agree. And I compliments for that. Whoever said anything, thank you.
Quite a few people, yeah. Okay, so do you want to start at the beginning and tell us your story of this game?
Sure. As much as I can remember, I think we finished a month ago today or yesterday.
Oh my gosh, it is. It's a month, yeah.
Nice. So let's see how much my brain can remember. But going into Maine, I was excited because this was my second live game, but also nervous because I had a feeling I would at least know one person, one previous connection, which can either hurt or help you. In this case, it helped me a little bit, but I never really got to work with her, meaning Sandra.
Mm-hmm.
I played her in Outlast last summer, but in that game, we never spoke, never worked together, never had any chance of any of that.
Wait,
And
you were never on the same tribe, right?
Nope. Never on the same time. We were, then I got voted out, so it didn't count.
Yeah. When you say that you thought you might know someone, did you know that it was going to be Sandra, or did you just have, you were just like, maybe? Okay.
I just had, I feel like at this point, I know possibly enough people that maybe somebody would show up that I would know. So I was prepared for that.
Okay.
And that's all I was super nervous about going into this game. And then when we were sitting in the fields, I was scoping everybody out. I don't know. I felt pretty good with just knowing myself and my abilities and assessing just the brief glimpses that I got of everybody. I felt a little calmer and just ready to see what everybody was actually like, and not just my first plans.
You were like, I'm going to take all these people out. You're like, oh, I'm better than all these people.
I remember seeing Amelia and thinking, oh, another small, strong girl. I either need to work with her or get her out right away.
Nice. And so you actually ended up working with her, yeah?
Yeah. I loved it.
Nice. I love that too. Okay. So when you found out that it was 3 tribes and not 2, when did you find that out, and how did you feel about it?
I think we all kind of gathered that when we were sitting in the field, because we saw the different color ribbons with your name on it on everybody's bags. 2 blues looked very similar, but then they started pulling people. We realized that it was 3, and I liked that. How many were there? Were 6 of us to start with, which is a good number to initially build some connections in a somewhat smaller setting. So I was fine with the 3 tribes.
Okay, interesting. Now, it seemed like, and maybe this is wrong, but it seemed like your first I don't know which was your first. Your first two strong connections maybe were with Shaylee and Dave. Is that right?
Yeah, definitely. I definitely connected with Shaylee like instantly or
Hmm.
walk up to our camp, and she just gave me that aura of this girl would be loyal, and I knew that I wanted somebody that I could really feel like I would go as far as I can with, and she was instantly it for me.
Oh.
And yeah, and we had the matching rainbow hiking shoes, which we got all the time. And then Dave he brought that on, which I'm glad with. He came up to me at one point in the woods, and he was like, "I got to talk to you." I was like, "Okay," and he told me that TJ knew that I played Outlast, and he was like, "Us previous gamers, we have to. I got your back," and I was like, "Okay." Oh, I instantly bonded with Dave over that. Yeah, so I felt good to start with.
Good.
And then
Okay. And
and
then,
then like we're in our I don't know if you had more questions, but if we what when we got to our tribe, slowly I had a one-on-one conversation with everybody minus Kiefer, um, basically about them wanting to work with me, like for
wow.
us to be going to the end together. And I felt great about it. I never said, yes, I promise you and I always agreed, and I felt strongly about it. Just knowing that I had options was
Yes.
very promising. But I also know that if you feel too good, sometimes it's not a good thing. So I was always a little weary, but still always feeling a little lucky that okay, my social skills are actually working right now.
Yeah, that must feel really good.
Mhm.
So when you get into the challenges and stuff, oh wait, you ran for the idol,
I
right?
did. I ran.
Tell me about that.
So when as soon as Liza said there's an idol there, okay, like I would love an idol. I've never found an idol, and but then when I looked behind me and I saw that there were only four other girls, I was like, oh shit. So I forgot that this will just instantly put a target on my back, and I just slowed down.
Oh,
If I wanted it, I could have got it. I'm very fast, but my thoughts kicked in, and I was like, okay, they're slowing down. Maybe I should slow down too. And then Dee Dee caught up to me, and I started a conversation with her. Like, what if we use it together? Like, not knowing anything, but thinking ahead, it's nice to have some conversation with somebody on another tribe just in case.
yeah.
And we got to the table, saw Matt there recording, and I just hesitated. She was like, "You could take it, girl. Take it if you want it." And I was,
What?
I know. I was like, I don't know. And then she just went, and oh, girl. And then when we were walking back, she just instantly was like, I'm here to win. I'm not here to mess around. And I was like, that's amazing. Like, you just taught me my first lesson, and I am not going to second guess myself anymore and hesitate. So good for you. But also, I do feel like things happen for reasons.
Hmm.
So I was kind of thinking like, okay, I didn't take that for a reason. It's fine.
Yeah.
Uh, and I don't think I know the exact votes for uh, Moosehead when they were voting for Amelia and she played that idol that
Hmm.
deep her. But if it was going to be her, then I helped Amelia get that idol, and
Right.
for that would be the amazing reason that I didn't.
Um,
But
yeah.
I did it. I would have had three idols.
I know. A record for, would it be a record for Surviving Maine?
I don't know.
No, you would have tied the other record set by Jessica in season 2 of Surviving Maine, who had three
Oh,
idols and went home
and
with an idol in her pocket.
Uh, and then Sandra apparently got she picked up her idol in that lakes challenge just
Yes.
seconds before I was right there with her. I behind her and she was there. So if I would have gone in front of her, maybe I would have seen that. But
You didn't need
maybe.
it. You didn't need it.
No, I would have, but
Yeah. Oh, what was I gonna ask? Um, okay, so you're Dee Dee comes back and she's like saying that, oh, Alyson's too nice
nice
and
girl.
let me have this idol.
Yeah.
Anyone from your tribe ask questions about like what happened and was there any suspicion on you? It didn't seem like it.
No suspicion, especially because Shaylee and Mary also ran for the idol.
Yeah.
So the three of us girls in our tribe went for it, which is cool. And I think I told them exactly what I just said to you too, like how I hesitated and what she said. So there was never any question on that whole thing happening.
Okay, good. Okay, so the rest of the day on day one, it's a bunch of challenges. Do you have anything to say about those, like first three challenges? Yeah.
The first one was fun. I think that's the one that Shaylee and I were tied together because I remember us coming up with like a little strategy of in, out, and that seemed us. And then we did that puzzle blindfolded, right? Yeah, that was tough. I am not a puzzle person at all. I wish I was, but that is not how my brain works. It does not work in numbers or puzzles at all. I don't remember what the other challenges were.
I couldn't tell you.
I remember having so much fun in all of them though. Like the
Cool.
challenge, such high quality. I loved it.
Yeah. Liza and their friends and family do a really great job with those challenges.
Yeah.
Always impressive.
Mhm.
Okay, so on your tribe then is you, Shaylee, Dave, TJ, Kiefer, and Mary. And you have a good relationship, as good as you can that first day with everyone except maybe Kiefer.
Yeah. Which I wouldn't even say except. It was just, he knows this too, that he was kind of the only one to not initially want to talk strategy. But I loved being around him and I thought he was great. But knowing that I had 4 people like just come at me and say, I want to go to the end with you, like I can't pass those up over someone who I like, but it wasn't giving me anything. So that was the only reason.
It's a very good reason.
Yeah.
So after the third challenge, there's this journey. And can you talk about how the picks for that all went? Because your tribe wins and you get to choose somebody first.
So Mary wanted to go, I believe, and we were all okay with that because out of our tribe, she was the one who I think just had the least survivor knowledge.
For sure.
So we're kind of all thinking like, I don't know, that could not be a good thing. But she was like, yeah, I'll go. And we were like, okay, you go. And I don't remember how we picked Aaron. I think I remember saying like, let's pick a guy. Because we might have already picked Lauren. I don't remember that you picked all of them. But I think I do remember like saying like, let's pick a guy because Mary was going and we already had Lauren going too. And that seems like an interesting shakeup from what we heard from Mary and hearing later Lauren too.
So when Mary gets back and tells her story of what happened, you are the only one that believes her.
I really think I was. Like, I think everyone kind of did, but again, I just went back to, I just don't think she would have it in her to lie and come up with other than the truth. So I definitely believed her, and she just looked so defeated too when we like walked by at one point. Like she clearly lost something. So, but yeah.
So you obviously have the best read of people on the Flagstaff tribe because you were the only one who can figure that out. Like this person who knows nothing about Survivor isn't lying to us, like obviously, right? Uh, but so it seems like, that, by the end of the day, you win the immunity challenge.
Yeah.
So nobody's going home, but you're strategizing a little bit. And maybe people are thinking about who they would want to vote out if you lose the next one, which you do.
Right.
So what's going on that night with strategy talk?
I don't think there was a whole lot of strategy talk that first night because we were just feeling like so great that we didn't necessarily need to just yet. And everybody wanted to go to bed so early. I was so bummed about that. I was so around the fire and like swap some juicy stories. But tired. Although I do remember Mary and I like were looking at the stars for a while that first night too. The stars out there.
Mm-hmm.
I think in my head at least, if we were going to lose the next one, Kiefer was going to be my first push.
Mm-hmm.
But slowly as the day progressed or morning, I don't know, Mary just started to rub collectively the group kind of in a wrong way, in that at one point she mentioned like we were all sitting around our campfire and she was like, I love you guys. We're going to the end, but if Aaron's there, I have to choose him. So like, and she would, like, I know she would have chosen me and Aaron, I think, if she had any choices to make, but say that out loud. So again, just going back to like, oh, Mary, that just instantly for everyone was like, well, she's gonna flip on us, and I agreed. She did seem like if something went wrong, she could potentially stir the pot even more. And so first vote, collective. I gotta go with the collective.
Even though Aaron had already been voted out and that he wasn't a threat to you guys anymore.
Was he voted out before her?
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, I think it was just potential loose cannon of Mary, and I don't know.
Definitely a loose cannon there, yeah.
In a good way. She was awesome.
I want to be her friend. Like if I lived in Maine, we'd be hanging out every day. So you get through that first vote. You feel fine. Dave is
he got so paranoid, and I
yes.
don't know why. I don't even know if he mentioned his name, or maybe if they did, there were only 5 names to choose from anyway. Well, no, 6. I don't know. So if you heard your name, like maybe, but he just got really paranoid and for whatever reason, and
I guess that
Dave.
but that was I messed up. That was the next one, I think. Because you lose 2 in a row.
Oh yeah. That was when we voted for Kiefer, and
that's my fault.
And he got paranoid. Yeah.
So the Mary vote was an easy vote. She didn't even have a vote, and she was telling Kiefer she was voting him out because she forgot that she lost her vote.
The fact that she was like, "If I love you guys, but I'm gonna go with this guy," and right off the bat, she was like, "Should we just tell people who we're voting for?" It's like, I don't think so. So
God bless Mary. So the next one. What? Sorry, what?
And poor Kiefer, like he just stand there and take it.
Yeah, poor guy. So it wasn't Mary's fault that he was voted out next. It was what it was like already on your mind because you didn't have like a final 2 with him. Were you the one pushing that vote for Kiefer then?
I do remember saying his name like instantly, and I think everyone might have agreed because they wanted to work with me. And then I don't remember who I was with when we were saying, well, what should we tell Kiefer? And Shaylee's name came up.
Mm.
So I'm sure that the guys talked to him a little bit more and, pushed Shaylee, and he believed it. And yeah, I don't know how close TJ and Dave were. I think they were. But I'm assuming if, they talked and I was with Shaylee, so those were kind of just obvious that we could stick together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know that TJ wanted a guy out because he wanted equal gender makeup of tribes
Yeah.
at first. And then I guess maybe part of that made Dave paranoid too. So Dave didn't even vote. Kiefer
Right.
votes for Shaylee, and the other three of you vote for. Are there three of you?
Yeah. Yeah. It
Yeah.
was just TJ and Shaylee that voted for Kiefer then.
Okay. Did you ever feel in danger? I mean, probably not, right?
Oh, I didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, oh God, I shouldn't feel like this, but I feel like this, so okay.
I mean, like
That would.
typically you have a feeling like, oh, maybe now I need to worry, right?
Oh yeah, I knew when I did worry, like they were all valid
Yeah.
almost. But and it was second vote. Like I don't think people were into lying that hard that quickly, so
Right.
I felt solid.
Yeah. And you were correct.
Yeah.
So then is the swap. Tell me
Yeah.
about that.
I was happy with the swap. I probably, if I could have, I would have. Well, it didn't matter because we weren't swapped for too long. I would have preferred to have been swapped with probably TJ.
Mm,
Uh, Shaylee and I, if we were swapped together, we would have been seen as too close.
yeah.
Knew when I wasn't with her, I was like, oh, man, I hope, I hope she can pull this off.
Mm-hmm.
So I was nervous for her. And being with Dave was fine because we said we were going to have each other's back, but it was just prior to that he got so paranoid.
Right.
I don't know about you anymore. Like I'm sticking with you, but I saw a side really quick that I didn't understand.
Mm-hmm.
But also getting swapped with Zach was really good for me because
He knew who you were, right?
he knew who I was,
And
Sam
Sandra.
and I had a moment at the right when she grabbed that idol at the lake challenge. Like it was just the two of us, and very quickly I was like, does anybody know that we know each other? And she mentioned Zach, and I think I mentioned TJ, and so she was like, yeah, Zach and I are working together. So we also spoke. We could have made it a little more obvious, like just been like, hey, instead we were just like quietly talking, but we both sat out during the tug of war challenge. So
Mm,
we talked as much as we could on the bench too. And that's when she told me, I think that Zach was her number one.
okay.
So getting swapped with Zach was good because I knew that he had Sandra and I knew that I could talk to him about it. So that kind of instantly just gave me Zach in a way. And
Right.
I feel like that happened.
Yeah.
And then being with Nick, Callie, and Topher, I was super excited about. I mentioned in like so many of my confessionals that I was like, I just can't wait to meet Topher because we were sitting in the field, he was sitting behind me and he was just like so smiley. And I was like, I want to talk to this guy. And when we lost that challenge that we voted Kuiper out, I remember sitting on the ground, like after we didn't complete the puzzle or something, and Flagstaff was over there and they were just staring at us. Like they said that that they wish they could have helped us. But I just looked up at them so sad and just like stared at them for a little bit. I was like, I'm going to get this sympathy. And, and then when we swapped, before I'm sure we'll get into it, but before I went on that journey, I saw Callie, Topher, and Nick sitting on the ground under a tent, and I just quickly went over and I was like, I want to work with you guys. And then, yeah. So got that quick little in. I just felt so confident in vocalizing, wanting to work with people, and it worked, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I just knew, like, if I was thinking something, I just need to say it and do it. So that was that moment.
I love it. Okay. Um, so then you guys win, and you go on a journey with TJ.
Yes. And we won, and I looked over at them and I made eye contact with TJ, and I think I like mouthed like, do you want to go? And he just like nodded. And so I was like, when we were discussing who was going to go, I said, let's send TJ. Nobody had anybody else to offer, so I'll help TJ.
Wow. Wow.
And then none of us wanted to go, so we drew sticks, and the longest stick went, and Lauren got it. And I was like, this girl just went on a journey, and I don't trust her to help TJ. So I was like, can I go? Like, you did the last one, whatever. And she was like, yeah, you can go if you want. And so I went. And it was great. Wow. I knew going into it that I wasn't going to take any risk. If TJ needed it, he could do it. Mm-hmm. We were able to talk a little bit too, which helped. And I told him then that I knew Sandra, because also at that time I was weary of TJ in that he had this information, but knowing now, like, he wasn't going to do anything with it. So what? He had the information. But obviously your mind goes like, he could use it against me. So I decided to clean, and he asked me at the time, I don't even think did we even get to talk before that, or do we just do the challenge and win? I don't remember. That was the spool challenge.
Yeah. Do you want to say anything about that?
I freaking loved it.
Were you on the spool?
I was.
Oh.
It was so difficult. It was so. And Amelia and I were back and forth for a while, and then, like, she was a freaking champ. But I remember like trying so many different ways to just go as far as we could. And every time I fell, I kept being like, I'm sorry. And I was like, I can't, but then the last time, like once we crossed it, that was the last time that the first time that I had tried to like bend my knees really and squat. And that helped so much. I wish I did that sooner, but whatever. And annoyed with Dave too, because he just kept talking, and Nick was like, I think the talking is distracting her. It is. I don't mean to be mean, but stop talking.
What was he saying?
I don't know. I think he was just asking me questions, and I didn't want to talk. Like, asking me, like, do you want to hear? I don't know. Dude, that was tough. That was fun. So, okay, my mind goes so fast, so many places. So, what was I saying? Oh, the journey. Yeah, I let TJ do his thing, and I rested on the bench, and it was the best journey I've ever been on because I just got relaxed by myself for like I felt like I was laying on the bench for like 15 minutes. It was so nice.
That is nice. Alone time is very nice in a game like that.
It was very necessary.
Yeah. Okay, so that all happens. You go to the next challenge and you see your BFF has been voted out. How are you feeling about that?
I was so sad. TJ made it sound like it was going to be him. Obviously, I didn't want him either. But for it to be Shaylee, like, I was sad that she was gone, but then instantly too, I was like, TJ, you turn on her too to save yourself, which you got to save yourself. But so that's what I was thinking at that moment too.
And he didn't, right? He didn't vote for her.
No, he didn't. No.
Yeah. Okay. But you were thinking he may have.
Just
okay.
Oh,
yeah.
It would be smart, save yourself. But
yeah. Yeah. Okay, so then you lose this next challenge.
Yes.
And now you have to go to tribal. So what's happening when you go back to camp?
I don't think we went back to camp. And I think this was a big part of it, in that we didn't go back to camp because we weren't told how long we would have to talk. And so we started breaking off, but instantly Lauren just brought so much stress in, like, I got to talk to that. So I think that helped us like solidify in that she just brought too much.
She was too intense.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was fine with that.
Okay. Who was it that told you, like, hey, we're voting Lauren?
Oh, I think I was one of the people too to say her.
It was just everyone was like on the same page at that point.
Oh, okay. Because I knew that I wasn't going to vote for Dave. I didn't want to vote for Zach. And like I mentioned, like, I wanted to work with the moose heads. So Lauren was the vote, I think, for the majority of us. Everybody else voted for Lauren.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're saying too, like, we got to keep the girls strong, which I agreed with too, but for whatever reason, Lauren just wasn't fitting into my keeping the girls strong. We not long, but I just saw her as too much, and I saw the potential power that she could have over my people, and I didn't like that, so we voted.
Bye, Lauren.
For now.
For now. Yeah. Okay, so then you go, bam, right into the next immunity challenge. And were you thinking, like, okay, you get to go to bed now? Or, was this a shock that you were having another challenge that night?
Oh, we finished. Oh, okay. Yeah, we finished that Lauren vote, and it was dark. And then we went back, and then they followed us and said, here's your bucket. You're going to make fire. And I was so pumped because I fit in my fire making skills.
Yeah.
I didn't practice a lot. I only practiced for like 20 minutes the day before with my dad at home in our day. And Zach had mentioned that he felt good about it too. So even before we got to the challenge, we said, what if there's only one or two of us? And we agreed that it would be myself and Zach. So I thought it was cool that we were doing a night challenge.
Yeah.
And I just felt confident in myself. And when Zach and I were like getting ready, I was like, we have to stay calm. Like, we just need to stay slow and focus, and we can do this. And that's definitely what helped us win that one.
So Zach said he came in, and when he saw that, it was Seth you would be up against, that Zach was nervous that Seth, but it sounds like you were just like, I got this.
I don't think I knew. Maybe somebody mentioned it, but I just was like, okay, whatever. That Seth man. But I just got a vibe that he could be someone who would crack under pressure. And I felt good with like our little setup, and then scraped the magnesium. And I hear him like, oh, this isn't working. This one is harder than the other one. I was like, this is this thing.
You're like, easy, we got this.
It doesn't have a little handle, so like it hurt to hold it a little bit more, but whatever. So I was like, oh, he's cracking. And then at one point too, Zach dropped the striker in the grass, and I for a quick second, I was so pissed. I was like, oh my gosh. But found it quick enough. And then like we had a flame and they're like, we should have more sticks. I was like, no, it's good. And I just scooted it and woohoo, such a fun win.
I'm glad that was so much fun for
So
you. Building fire is definitely fun.
yeah. The reward, I
Oh,
felt
you got spaghetti.
yes, it was the pasta dinner. We had cookies, garlic bread, and soda. Oh, and I always like eat with my eyes. I always like grab a plate that I never finish it. I definitely didn't eat as much as I expected I would. But it was tasty. I felt a little bad when Liza kept announcing like and garlic bread and like I would scream and I was just so excited and then they were still there. I was like shit. But I was like, well, whatever. They would have done this.
Yeah.
So
And
that
it's
was
fun. It's fun when other people are suffering a little tiny bit
a little
for the
bit.
cameras. Not for you, obviously.
Yeah. And then when when Liza was like, you can give them rice, I was like, well, what do we have to give up? Nothing. I was like, oh, yeah, give them the rice. Like, can we give them too? Like, but that was such a high because not only were we safe for the night, which that's the best feeling, going to bed not knowing that when you're going to vote them out, but it's not soon. Yeah.
So you slept well that night with a full belly.
Actually, no. Well, yes, everybody, but I at one point was terrified because where were we at? Sebago. There's like a little ramp of a mound, whatever, and I was laying on that. So my feet and my head were facing like an opening clearing. Everybody else was kind of facing each other, but I was facing this clearing. And I slept in my sleeping bag, which was so warm. I had the best sleeping bag. It was freaking huge. It was my brother's, so props to him. But I was awake at one point and I heard rustling right at my feet and it got louder and louder. And then so I just ducked under my sleeping bag and I was so scared. And I was like, am I going to wake somebody? And do I need to be like, guys? It went away. And then,
oh my God.
And then I heard Callie get up to go to the bathroom. I was like, someone's awake. I was like, Callie, are you okay? She was like, yeah, I'm just going to the bathroom. I was like, okay. And then I heard the rustling again. So I don't know. It was probably a deer. Hopefully. It couldn't have been anything heavier. But I was thinking if it was, like, I would be the one to be dragged out. I watched too many too, so.
I think like deer are the biggest things out there. And I would have been more scared of possums and raccoons, personally. They're so creepy.
Oh, gosh.
But they can't drag you anywhere.
No, yeah. But I survived.
Ooh, scary. Okay. So the next day, have you now in between the start of the swap and this next morning, the challenge in the morning, have you spoken with people other than Dave? Not really.
No, not really. We didn't. The only time we were really at that camp was, I think, nighttime. Or actually, maybe we were before that one more time. But we didn't talk strategy with anybody, which I really wish I could have. But also, I don't think it would have helped me at all. We did, going into our next challenge, we did have a very strong sense of let's stick with us six because why not? And I was totally down for that.
Mm-hmm.
So that six would have been myself, Zach, Dave, Nick, Topher, and Callie. And we felt good with that. And before going into the next challenge, we were like, okay, well, who would we target first, and we all agreed on Seth or Adam. Obviously, knowing what we all know now, it was never going to be Adam.
Yeah.
So fine with Seth, but then the mergatory happens.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So tell me about that.
Well, I loved it. Like, it was cool to obviously make it to merge point, and that challenge was so fun. I felt confident in, I don't know, I just felt good. I also really liked my position in all of our placement because I was on the corner and I couldn't see anybody. Like, I had nobody in front of me, nobody like really, one person was beside of me, but I couldn't really see them. So I was just able to focus and not be distracted by anybody else, which I appreciated. And then once I had my fourth block on there and I was halfway through about to stack my fifth one, just holding it in my neck, we all had to pause because Zach's whole table or stand fell or broke or something. So then Liza offered all of us, do you want somebody to come stand on your stand? And I was like, no, do not touch. Like, you're not going to fall. And then it was back up and he won first. And then I was right behind him. So, and instantly, like, I didn't cry, but like, I was like, oh my gosh, like, I was safe. Just knowing I protected myself in the first chance I had was really nice.
That is great. And now that you know that Zach's table was like 3 feet closer than anyone else's, do you feel even better because you probably would have just won?
Yeah. Like, it was super close after they moved it for the next one. I was like, whatever, give him that win. He's telling it way, but I don't know. If I want to give it like that, like, maybe I would have technically been first.
I think you would have. I think he thinks you would have too. So congratulations. Amazing. So you get to go to the feast then. Oh, wait, actually first, when the exile people come in, what are you thinking?
I was not expecting that. I don't think any of us were expecting them to come out of the bushes. But and like seeing that not everybody was there, like I see that. I understand that. But from the people that were there, obviously I was hoping for Shaylee to come back. Kiefer, I wasn't sure like how he would feel about us. Mary seemed like she would have had vengeance.
Really?
But I don't know, like we've mentioned, like she could potentially be a loose cannon. Like, I don't know. I just kind of, I didn't see her having much patience when it came to the accuracy of that challenge, so I wasn't too worried about that. I was actually rooting for Sandra to come back too. That would have been fun.
Yeah.
And then Lauren, I did not want to come back, and she finished that challenge quicker than all of us. Like, I think she would have beat me if we were in that next to each other. She was really well, all while crying.
Yeah, poor thing. So it seemed like most people did not want Lauren to win that.
Yeah.
So of course she did.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so you're all at this feast. Tell me about the feast.
I loved that feast.
Did you?
Standing at the edge, and I saw all the food laid out, and obviously my mind went straight to there has to be an idol in this food somewhere. And so I scoped out the food before we walked to it and saw the tray with like bags of goldfish and cookies and apples, and I was like, that looks like a good spot. So I made sure to walk on the right side and get there first, knelt down, and instantly zoomed in and saw that little bag behind a goldfish. And we started grabbing things, and I was like, "Ooh, goldfish!" and grabbed a bag of goldfish and the idol, and kind of just roughed up the whole set up too. And I stuffed the idol in my leggings pocket on the side and then quickly made eyes with everybody, and nobody was looking at me.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh shit, this is like a silly little bump in my leg. I obviously have to move that. And so I was like, I'll put it in the back. Like, and I could have just done it silently. But I was like, something's on my back. And then Nick, I know, which is silly because Nick right next to me, and he looked and he was like, are you okay? And I was like, yeah, I'm good. And then I saw him look down like a little further. I was like, shit, I think he saw.
Did he see?
He didn't see it.
No, he didn't.
I asked him later. We weren't, it was like off camera, but once we got back after, I was like, I want to talk to you. And I was like, I have to come up with another question. I can't just ask him that solely. So I was like, out of your trio, like with you, Topher and Callie, like who do you feel closest with? And I was like, because I see Callie and Topher closer than I see with you. And he's like, yeah, I agree. So that was like truth, but I had to come up, and I was like, and also, do you think that there was an idol at the feast? And he was like, no. I was like, you didn't see anybody take one? And he was like, no, but should I have like thought that somebody had one? I was like, I don't know. And so I just never really knew if he was just bluffing to me, but apparently he wasn't.
Right.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say that you told him.
No, because if I had, like, I made such strong eye contact with so many people while I was talking to them. So I was eyeing him down when I asked him and when he gave his response, and he didn't waver. If he had, then maybe I would have, I told him, because I would rather try to tell him and be like, okay, let's work together. Yeah. Like, tell anybody. But I don't know. I just felt like, okay, if he's not going to give me any information right now, then I'm not going to come clean. So I'm glad I didn't.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good. It's for the best. Okay, so now heading into this vote, then, who are you feeling like you're working with the closest, and you're safe, and who's up for elimination?
The worst combination, because obviously us 6 wanted either Seth or Adam to lose, win. So yes. Up for elimination were TJ, Dave, Topher, Nick, and
Callie. Nick was not.
Yeah, Topher, Callie, and Amelia. And obviously, instantly, I didn't want to vote for TJ or Dave, and I didn't want to vote for Callie or Amelia because I didn't want to vote for a lady. And so really that left me with Topher. And that was talked about with, like, I talked about that with Dave, TJ, and Zach. And I told Callie straight up too, because she and I were kind of in, only she wasn't safe, so not exactly the same position, but kind of in that Callie had Topher and Amelia kind of on her side, and I had
Dave and TJ. Yeah.
Dave. So I was like, I'm voting for Topher. Like, I don't want to vote for a girl, and I'm not voting for them. So I just want to let you know. And she was like, I appreciate that. And in that swap, and like in the merge, like, I didn't foresee myself in a majority group just yet, and then I never was. But at that first vote, like, I knew I was safe, so whatever. I was pushing for Topher because I didn't want anybody else out of those options. Wasn't exactly sure what was going to happen.
Did anyone ever tell you Amelia's name?
Maybe, and I think maybe at one point before I had decided, like, I don't want to vote a lady, like, I think I might have thrown that out too, because I knew that
you hadn't worked with.
yes, and I hadn't talked to her. And very briefly, I was like, well, there's more original Sebago. Like, if I could try to, like, appease them somehow and throw out not one of their people, then maybe they would let that stick. I don't know. Yeah. And I knew that Zach had an idol, but
okay, wait, when did he tell you that? Oh, Lauren told you that.
No, Zach told me himself.
Okay.
I don't remember when. I think he told me when we swapped.
Okay.
So, like, before merge, he told me. I'm pretty sure. I don't know. So I knew he had an idol, but I didn't know that other people knew it, and I had no clue that he was planning on playing it. I'm glad I didn't know, because it was fun.
Yeah. So going into that tribal, you think it's you, Dave, TJ, Amelia voting for Topher. Do you know that for sure? And Zach?
I didn't know what Amelia was going to do, but I told her that I was voting for Topher and that I would like to work with her.
Okay, good. Okay, cool. And then did you know Dave was the other name?
I don't remember.
Okay.
I did. And then when we were all, like, sitting in the tent before going to vote, like, I remember looking at, and Topher was the only one that I didn't speak one-on-one with in that session, because I just felt so bad. I was like, and, like, for whatever reason, he's the one that I wanted to work with, and now I just have to vote him out.
Oh my God. Yeah, you really want, smiley Topher. Oh no.
Never even had a one-on-one conversation with him. Like, we didn't, when we swapped, we didn't talk to anybody individually at all. So I was even more bummed. But I remember looking at him and, like, he looked sad. He looked defeated. So I was like, okay, maybe this is going to happen. And then when we were picking up our bags to go over to tribal, Zach comes over to me and he was like, who are you voting? I was like, Topher, right? And he was like, okay, yes. And I saw Adam, like, watching us and heard me. And I said to Adam, like, it's not too late. Like, you can change your mind. Oh yeah. Talk about Adam yet. But when we merged and after he won, like, that goes our plan of, like, he was one of the options to vote out. So I was like, okay, now I'm going to go try to talk to this guy, because, like, he's a strong competitor and I got to try to talk to everybody. So instantly, like, I felt comfortable and drawn to him. And, like, we had this little banter going. I think I mentioned, like, hey, I'm excited to compete with you. And he's like, compete with or against? I was like, both.
You told me the same story. He loves you. He's like, she's my best friend.
Honestly, I think I, like, vibed with him so well because he reminds me of myself. Like, I think I mentioned that to TJ too. I was like, Adam's like a younger male version of me. It's weird. But
beautiful.
So, like, I loved initially that him or Seth were the ones that we were going after, but then, okay, now I want to, like, go to the end with Adam. And then for the rest of the game too, we just had this, which I felt was transparent, but obviously knowing the underlying Alston alley, like, we were ever going to compete with that. But I really do feel like he was truthful with me whenever he could be, and fun banter in what we could work together. So yeah, when like, we already had that rapport, and then when I saw him, like, over here, Zach and I saying Topher, that's when I was like, it's not too late. Like, you can change your mind. And he was like, you can change your mind. I was like, no. And then Zach plays his idol. And that it was amazing for my game in that it got rid of Topher, because if we still had Topher, Adam, and Callie together, like I wouldn't have had. I mean, I still would have been safe for all of the tribes that I was.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It would have obviously been harder for everybody else. So
yeah, and then, I told Zach he saved the season by doing that.
Yeah, he dispersed that Alyson alliance when we didn't know it was a thing.
Yeah.
And then after that vote, we were sitting in the tent again, and like I was feeling good. I don't think we talked much. And then I remember I was sitting across from Adam too, and like I was just staring at him like, but yes, that was a fun tribal.
Yeah, I can't wait to watch it. So the next thing is you winning immunity in Dutch Challenge. Tell me about that. I
felt obviously very steady. And then after I won, like I just felt so weird. I think it was just because it was just me. Like instantly I felt like, oh, everybody's either hates me or is jealous. And like I'm happy for myself because I don't know what it would have happened if I wasn't safe. But yeah, that was really fun to be the first one to win the first individual immunity challenge. Yes. Also the only one I won, but we can count the merch tour too. Yeah.
We will count it technically. I think.
Yeah.
Okay, so you must be a little bit worried now because you were in the minority vote last time.
At that point, that's when I realized like I am not in a majority, and I don't think I will be. But again, I knew I was safe, so I still felt okay, but I wanted to do as much as I could to protect my solo people. And knowing that they just targeted Dave wasn't good for my potential future relationships. So who's that next one? Lauren, right? No.
Yeah.
I don't remember who I was. Oh, no, I remember this. This was one of the most awkward moments of my life. When I was pushing for Nick, because that's when I was like, okay, there's more Sebago. Like, let me try. This is when I was like, let me try to get it off of one of them and maybe they'd be down for it. And knowing that I just voted out Topher, I was like, ugh, do I really want to just go for the next one after I said, like, we're going to work all 6 of us?
All right.
And I told Topher, Nick, and Callie, like, I want to work with you 3. And I just voted one out. And now I'm going to go for the other one. So I felt like I had already thrown that out there and I just had to commit to it because the other options were one of my guys. And obviously I wasn't going to do that. Even knowing.
And so Alyson, your guys are Zach, TJ, and Dave. Is Zach really okay? Yeah. You're pretty close with Zach at this point now.
Yeah. Like I felt like he would be loyal to me and I'll stick with him. Mm-hmm. But also knowing that like I don't think the 4 of us were ever really gonna like stay strong as a 4, but I knew individually I had those guys if I needed. Mm-hmm. 'Cause TJ always kind of, to me, I don't know. And I talked to him about this too. Like he just always was a little bit like we worked together, but he would always go back and like he was closer. After that swap, like he just became closer with some people that I wasn't. So mm-hmm. I was always a little like, well, do you like actually want to like do what I want to do, or you're just going with it? So I think it was a little bit of both.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't remember who they were pitching when I was saying Nick.
I don't know if they were trying for Dave or Zach at that point.
I think they were maybe trying for Dave again because then last minute, TJ told me that it was Zach.
Mm-hmm.
The only one who mentioned it to me.
Mm.
And I felt a little sad. And I didn't tell him. And like he saw it too. Like I was walking up to Tribal next to Zach and Dave. And I was just kind of looking a little sad. Like I wasn't saying much. And one of them was like, "Are you okay?" I was like, "Yeah, it's just a lot." Like, um, because I knew that I wasn't in a majority. So it's another one of my people leaving, but what would I gain if I tried to save one person
Mm-hmm.
when already is very clear on getting that one person out? Because, okay, cool, somehow he's safe. They're going to try again, or they could go for me next.
So if you're saying like if you had played your idol on
I never
Zach,
would have.
but if you had, you would still not be in the majority. You would still be in the, so why bother?
Yeah. But no, I never would have ever played an idol for anybody but myself.
Wow, Alyson.
This is what I realized. No, but that I I don't wish, but I kind of wish I told Zach. I don't know if he still had it, but to play his shot in the dark,
Mm,
because that would have been fun if he was safe from that.
yeah, I don't think I think he had it. So
That could have been cool.
yeah, why
Um,
didn't you tell him to?
and I was like, okay, one guy goes, like, I'm still not in any like power alliance, so I can still on. So I, this game for me, I had some self-reflection after. Um, I realized that when I played out last, I was far too trusting,
Mm,
and that was kind of my downfall. And then going into Maine, I was not trusting of really anybody. Like I
yeah.
had solid people that I wanted to work with, like all of the people I've mentioned before, going to the end. That's true. But I knew that I was the only one who could save myself. I didn't fully trust anybody. And I was proud of myself in winning as much as I did, finding the idols when I did, because I was in control of my own safety at that time. And that's how I played. So next time I'm gonna be somewhere in the middle. And
Yes.
that like I need to put a little faith in the people who I do believe.
Hmm.
Um yeah.
No,
But
it's key to have one person, at least one person you really trust and could tell things to.
yeah, I don't think I ever was gonna have that, because even with
Yeah.
Shaylee, I didn't tell her that I had played another game. Like maybe I would have,
Hmm.
but I withheld information from every single person.
Hmm. That's the way to play. Okay, so Zach goes and you're sad, but you didn't try to give him any warning. So you're still trying to like finagle something for yourself, right?
Yeah, because it was still early on in the merge, and I knew I had an idol, so
Hmm.
that gave me a little security.
Hmm.
And I knew that Zach wouldn't have. I don't know. Like they seemed adamant on not trusting him after he played the idol for Dave, obviously. So I just didn't see like a group path with him past that. So like I was sad about him going, but I was like, okay, maybe this will be okay for my game.
Yeah, yeah, and it mostly was.
Yeah, like it
Um,
didn't give me any downfall.
yeah.
Yeah.
So the next challenge, Adam wins immunity.
Oh, that thing was so hard. That shaky
You didn't
ball
do good in that?
at all. Those weird kind of challenges, no. Give me something to run and or hold, and I'll be great.
Okay, so what are you trying to do at this point? You have your idol.
Hmm.
You get told by Adam, maybe late in this round, that it's going to be Dave, right?
Right. Was it Dave this vote? I don't remember.
Yeah, it's Dave. It's Dave.
Uh
711. And like, who are you talking to this round?
oh, I don't remember. Uh I think oh wait, I never even talked see my mind. I never even told you the most awkward moment of my life.
Oh my
Well,
God, we skipped it. Yeah.
so it was when I was pushing for Nick and after, I had voted Topher out, even though I had told Callie, so like she knew what I was doing, but Nick didn't, and so he was pissed, obviously, I guess. And then it was the next round where I was pushing Nick, and I talked to Nick and Callie, and I was like, sorry I voted Topher, but like he was my only option. And then Nick just like looks at me and he's like, I don't trust you. And I uh okay. I don't even think I had words. And Callie was there too, just with her stone cold face.
Oh
And
no.
I was like, well, what about Lauren? Like I was pitching out other names. He's like, I'm not gonna believe anything you're saying now because you're just like I do not trust you. And he wasn't mean about it, so straightforward, but I think that's why it caught me off guard.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's not just a name. I'm like trying to see who you guys want to vote for. And then I remember going, and then they both just kind of left me. And then I remember going over to like TJ and Amelia, and I was like, guys, I don't want to vote for Nick, but I feel like I have to follow through at this point because he just told me he can't trust me.
Hmm.
So that was my reasoning of just following through, even and then knowing that it was going to be Zach anyway. So whatever.
So Nick had a way of being straightforward, huh?
He did. He was good. That was like such an awkward moment for me, and then I didn't feel like him and I were ever going to like be together, and I
Yeah.
just had a weird taste in my mouth about it. And I freaking love that guy.
Yeah.
Me and him had a similar thing that Adam and I had in like our banter back and forth, and it was so fun.
Nice. Okay. Um, okay, so Alyson, why did you play your idol? Because you find another idol this round.
Yes. So when we were talking, this was the vote where we were, from what I remember, I was in a lot of conversations where we were talking about voting Lauren, and a lot of people were in agreement with that.
Hmm.
And then I had I did my confessional, like one of the last of us, and it was very close to when we were actually going to tribal. So I finished my confessional, I come back, and then Amelia tells me first, so sad. She can't hide anything when she feels something, like, so like it's Dave. And I was like, what? It's like, no, why? I thought we were like all good for Lauren. And then TJ told me Dave, and Adam told me Dave. And I think I asked Amelia too. I was like, you promise it's not me? And she's like, I promise, I promise. So I should have kept that
Yeah.
as my needed to put faith in somebody, and it should have been Amelia at that point. Uh, but then when we were sitting at tribal and talking, whatever, like I just instantly felt nervous. I think because of prior online games that I've played where
Uh-huh.
I a few online games I went out with idols. But I had an idol. I very last minute was told somebody else, which just sounds a little suspicious. Like, how do I didn't just switch it to me and you're just telling me that it's this person now? I just didn't believe it. I didn't want to buy it. And so I started to get nervous. So before I went up to vote, I I had that feeling. I was like, I might play my idol for myself because I didn't want to be bamboozled, didn't want to go out with an idol. And I knew that I've learned if you have an idol and you feel something, just play it. Like, yes, I could have saved one of them to get me farther in the future, but how are you going to get to the future if you're not going to get past this vote? So I just felt like it was too last minute for them to switch it, which made me think it was me. And then Amelia went before me. So when we were passing each other, again, she gave me the saddest look. And I was like, she just wrote my name down.
Yeah.
Be that sad over Dave. Like, she wrote my name down. And then I go into the booth, and hanging from the little fly trap is an idol. And
so did you see it right when you opened the door?
Right when I opened the door. So
Shut up.
4 people went before me and just up. Also, I'm so short. Like, it was like TJ's face. Which I think, I'm assuming that's, I don't know if you know, or they'll tell us, but like, I'm assuming it was there the whole time and it wasn't just like a predetermined, like, on this vote, the 5th person, we're going to tie this up. Like,
no, it was there before anyone voted. And there's video of every single person voting and then a pan up to the idol hanging over their heads. Yeah.
Oh my God, that's so good. Yeah. So at that moment, I was like, are you fucking kidding me? And I found a chair, and then I was even like, because George normally sits down and records our confessionals, but he was standing in front of the window. I was like, that's why you're standing. You're blocking the view from someone to take this little bag. And he took it, and I opened it, and I was like, this is a sign that, yes, my feeling of it's me could be true. I just found another idol. I'm going to play it for myself. And if I'm wrong, I think I said this too, like, if it is you, Dave, I'm sorry, but I had to look out for myself. And so then when I sat down, I just felt like so happy. I think I was even laughing at one point too. Then when Dave gets up to like play something, I was like, yes, like, are you gonna play something so I can sing idol? Because at first I don't know, he was gonna do, no, he like went up with 2 things, I don't know. And then I was like, okay. And then I played my idol for myself, and obviously it wasn't me. To most people, that was a waste of an idol play. But knowing that I had another one and having that weird gut feeling that I just didn't trust anybody, like, I really didn't trust anybody. So I just played it. Okay,
now looking at it now, who were the other 2 votes for? Who did you vote for?
Dave voted for Nick, and I voted for Lauren. Like, I initially wrote Dave's name because I knew that everybody was voting for Dave. Like, and he knew it too. And I think I told him, like, before we went to vote, I was like, it's you, like, they're voting for you. And he was like, it's okay. You take this home. You win this. You got this. And so sad. But I was like, okay. And then when I was in the voting booth and knowing that I was going to play an idol, I was like, wait a minute. What if it is for Dave, and Dave plays an idol, and then there's no other votes? And I remember talking about Lauren, so I was like, okay, I'm going to cross off Dave's name and say Lauren, in case Dave plays something, and then Lauren will go. But he voted for Nick, so it would have been fun if he did have something, and it would have been a tie toss up. I think Lauren would have gone at that point.
Yeah, I think so too. And but it would have been fun. And now I know you would never ever play an idol on anyone else. Take note, everyone. If you play with Alyson, she will never play an idol on you.
Changed my mind.
If you had, though, like, trusted Amelia, you have 2 idols now.
Yes.
Oh, maybe I could save Dave, and I have Amelia, who trusts me and feels bad. Play the idol on Dave. Then what? Right. Is that fun? Like,
yeah, I didn't think of that at all until you mentioned it. Yeah, I should have. And then we would have got out Lauren at that point, and I would have had Dave,
Mm-hmm.
and that potentially could have changed my game for sure. That could have given me a little bit more majority. And the fact that we had TJ too. Yeah, myself, Amelia, TJ, and Dave would have been strong.
And if I'm thinking like, what if Nick had gone home instead of Lauren too? Because that's even better for you, I think.
True.
Because then you always have Lauren as this person that a lot of people want out, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you're making yourself a big target if you play an idol on Dave there. You're the next Zach, right?
Oh, but Zach, right. They've got for him.
I mean, an even better play if you saw season 3 of Surviving Maine, which you didn't, which was a mistake, Alyson. But Matt gave people idols, and then eventually they would end up on the jury, and they'd be like, "Matt's the best. Matt's the fucking best."
That's
so
true.
If you had just secretly given Dave your idol, made it look like now Dave's an even bigger target.
Yeah,
Alyson's doing nothing, right? And then eventually he's on the jury and singing your praises, right?
Right.
Like, watch more Surviving Maine. Watch more Surviving Maine, Alyson. Take some notes. All right, so that all happens. You're good, and you're thinking now maybe you could work with Amelia, and Adam's telling you things too. So you still feel okay. You still have an idol.
Yep.
There's another challenge that night, and there's like a message in a bottle thing. So talk us through that one.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. I don't think what the actual outcome was. It was not something we thought of. I was nervous for a drag vote because if we voted for Lauren, you know who she was dragging. It was going to be me. I don't remember what I feel like that was mostly what my mind was set on. Maybe an extra vote, but it was a little nerve-wracking not knowing what it was. But again, I still felt a little safe because I had one idol still.
Mm-hmm. And you end up using it.
Yes. This one was valid enough.
Yeah, I mean it was 4-3, right?
Yeah. If somebody decided to flip, then it could have been me. But it wasn't.
Oh wait, what? Is this for you? No, you didn't play your idol.
No, I did. This was because this is when Lauren went. After Dave went, Lauren went right after him. This was
oh, there you go. Okay. I'm looking at the wrong notes.
Yeah.
You got 3 votes. Nick, Seth, and Lauren voted for you.
Right.
But okay.
And Nick thought this is one of my shoulda, woulda, couldas. Nick thought that Callie, was also voting for me. I'm glad she didn't. But one thing that I regret in the talking before my tribal, before I was voted out, is not telling Nick that Callie voted for Lauren too. Because when we got back, and even till the next morning, he was like, yeah, the votes were supposed to be on you. Like Lauren had this extra vote and I don't know why it didn't work. He didn't know that Callie didn't vote with him. And if I told him that, then maybe that would have helped me in my vote out. But also, I don't think so because he wanted to play that coin and that was a fun moment anyway. So I don't think it would have made any difference.
Yeah, probably not. Probably not. Because he already didn't trust you. I mean,
exactly. I don't think he trusted anybody. Well, I think he did a little bit.
Who?
Callie.
Yeah, maybe a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So wait. Okay. So Lauren, the twist then is that Lauren gets to give someone immunity.
Yes.
And you have another immediately another tribe. You got like a couple minutes to talk.
Yeah, barely. And we were expecting, like, going into it, I think, oh, actually, we did think, what if this twist is we go into another tribal right away? Collectively, we were in agreement with voting out Nick. And
Who is collectively?
I feel like at least we had enough with myself, TJ, Amelia, and Adam. Like, I felt solid in those four that we all said Nick. And even Callie, which I think she would have done at that point. I don't know. Oh, no. Who knows what she would have done?
Who knows?
But only Callie knows what Callie knows. But yeah, so we went into it thinking, like, if we have to vote someone else, let's vote out Nick. And then, of course, Lauren again gives her immunity to Nick. And so the next obvious choice for me was Seth. And everyone said they were in agreement with that too. And then when we were voting, I started to feel a little nervous. I was like, I don't know, what if it's me? And then Adam, I was sitting next to Adam, and he was like, I think it's gonna be me. And he was like, here, take my token if it is. And like I pushed my bag closer to him and ready to give me that. But then when Callie said, I'm gonna play this for Seth, I didn't hear first because she's so quiet. And I was like, and then when Liza said this will be played for Seth, and I was like, you mean for Callie? Like, I made her confused. She was like, no, for Seth. And I was like, oh good job, Callie. And seeing TJ obviously was upsetting, but I was thinking, like, wow, good move, Callie. Like that's really good. And I remember so apologetic to Amelia after. Like, she looked so distraught in, like, Amelia's gonna punch me. Like, like she was so sad.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, okay, yeah, because Amelia voted for Seth. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And she knew that was one of her guys too.
Yeah.
Good move, Callie.
Yeah, TJ was like, it was like TJ and Amelia were like kind of like the tightest for a while there.
Yeah.
Okay, so now it's the final night.
Yes.
Yay. And I'm so happy you're like final six.
So happy. I just felt like I'm doing this. Like, I've done almost as much as I can. Like, making it to the last morning was such a great feeling. And our last night, when we got back, we had one apple left, so we split it up. And then we kind of recounted, like, everything that's happened so far. It was still a blur, but it was nice to just go through it with everybody. I don't think any, like, crucial new information came out. It was just nice to, like, rehash everything.
Mm-hmm.
That was the best sleep I got. No creatures. The first night I heard coyotes too. A pack of coyotes. They seem far away though.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so coyotes and then maybe a deer. But the last night was so peaceful. It was a nice starry night, and there were fireflies.
Oh,
and, like, Callie, myself, and Nick were sleeping out around the fire pit, and Adam, Seth, and Amelia were in their little shelter, and Amelia and Callie and I were like the only ones awake at like the very last moment, and we were looking up, and she was like, fireflies. I was like, I know. Now we just need a shooting star.
Did you get one?
I saw one on the first night.
Oh, nice. So okay.
I made a good and true. I remember, like, really falling asleep soundly, just staring up at the stars and fireflies and actually feeling tired enough to sleep. So that was a great sleep. And then I woke up. I feel like I was always the first one to wake up, and I went to the bathroom, made a fire because it was cold.
Okay. You were making the fire in the morning. Cool.
I was. And then everybody slowly woke up, and it was such a peaceful morning. I'm sure everybody said the same thing, but it's nice. Like, we were talking, having like fun, but also really deep conversations, some shed. And then I was like, let's go have a photo shoot on the sand dunes. So
I got those photos that morning. Brandon was like, they wanted to do a photo shoot here. He like texted them all to me.
I was like, sat in front of this chair with the cars behind me. I was like, take my picture.
What was up with Adam in front of that car with his like thumbs up?
I think he told us the story of his friends, which probably involved Kuiper and Topher.
Oh my God.
They did a road trip, and they would stop at places and do awkward poses, and that was that somebody did. I don't know. He was so take that picture. You go for it.
That's funny. Okay. So you have your fun photo shoot, and then you're headed into your first immunity challenge of the day.
Yes.
Was there any strategy talk, or it was just like good vibes, kumbaya morning?
Such good vibes. And then personally, I let out so many tears that morning, like going to our confessionals. I was like, I need to sit on the ground because I'm gonna cry. And it's like, it was Brandon and Andrew, and I was like, I'm definitely gonna cry. And then he asked me one question, and I just went. But it's because I was just so proud of myself, and so like I said, like getting to almost as far, like that's the farthest I've gone. Like making it the last morning is really cool. And not only that, but knowing that I played an awesome game and that everybody saw that and thought that made me feel proud of myself. Like I wanted to win, but I just felt so good. And probably because it was the last morning too, I was able to relax and like release all those tears. And then when I went back after too to camp, I was like, somebody asked me something, I'm gonna cry. And then I kind of also wish, this is one of my other regrets, I don't think it would have done anything again, but when I got back, Adam and Callie were going to do confessionals, and I wish I was like, wait guys, can you wait for a second? Because then I cried to Nick, Amelia, and Seth, but that they didn't need to see me cry. It was the other two that maybe I could have convinced, because I was just I know that I'm like a threat, and I just want this so bad. And like, this is just means so much to me. And like, I just really want to go to the end, but whatever, they didn't care.
Yeah. So then going into that challenge, were you like really trying to win? It's a puzzle, which you say you're not good at.
I was pissed. Like the speed. Well, I was like, okay, I can just run. I know I can like run a little faster than Seth, but like he's a good puzzle maker. So I was going into that knowing that I needed to win, but and I was next to Seth too. So when I went to drop whatever it was we were dropping, and I saw he was so much farther along than me, I was like, oh, maybe that like got in my head a little bit too. I talk to myself a lot too. I think it was like, come on, focus. But yeah, Adam won, and that was the moment where I was like, should have saved my idol, because I would have used it, and then I would have been safe, and then maybe I would have won that next balancing challenge. And there's and then maybe and then I could have won. But whatever.
Yeah, because maybe it would have been you and Seth making fire, and you could beat Seth at fire. Shit.
Oh, that would have been fun if like Well, I don't know who we would have voted. There's too many. There's too many paths. But
Yeah.
I am again chalking this up to there's a reason I didn't win, but I still feel proud and like I won for myself. So I'm fine with that for now.
Absolutely.
Maybe, I'll be invited back for another All-Star season. Like,
Yeah. So if they say, hey, we're doing All-Stars 2025, are you back?
oh yeah, I'm back.
Yeah.
For sure.
Right on. I heard you might have a pre-existing alliance, but whatever.
Do I?
I'm not going to say. If you don't want to say, someone else on another podcast, if people want to hear who Alyson may or may not be in an alliance with, listen to other podcasts.
I don't know of that, but I'm sure there's somebody who I said something to.
Maybe it's just all this other person who is like definitely gonna work with you no matter what. We won't name names. When I hit stop, I'll tell you.
Okay. But yeah, with you.
So if you could just name one regret, like if you had done this one thing differently, maybe things would have gone a different way for you, what would it be?
Well, like I can't deny that terrible gut feeling I had in playing my idol when it was Dave, because I just had that feeling and know that I could potentially go. Like I didn't want to take that chance. But if I had like just not listened to my gut and listened to Amelia more, then I could have saved my last idol and I could have surpassed my 6th vote out, and who knows what would have happened.
Would you have just like there was that you played it and then there were 2 more tribals that night. Do you think you might have just played both of them in that double tribal? So still you wouldn't have had it at 13?
Oh, you know what? Yeah, I might have been too scared. Yeah, knowing that I had an extra and not knowing what the twist was going to be. Yeah, I might have just played it just to be safe. So never mind. Let's think of.
I mean, yeah, that sucks. So, is there anything else you could have done differently?
Like aside from winning another immunity challenge on my own, I don't think there is, because once I, got as far as I did, Adam clearly was choosing Callie over me, and he was it for me. Like he would have been the one to help me get to the end.
Mm-hmm.
And I told him, like, I'm voting for Callie over you. Like, I said that to Nick too, and he was like, "Really?" I was like, "Yeah, she's doing well."
That's a great thing to say to people, because they don't want you on the jury if you say that.
No, so I was pitching to both of them the same thing, which it would have been true. Like, but I don't know. So I think maybe I texted Adam after too. I was like, "You missed me crying. Like, would that have changed anything?" He's like, "No, your vote out would have been just as sweeter." I was like,
"Fool."
But maybe if I had asked Callie and Adam to stay so that I could have cried in front of everybody and been like, "I just want to go to the end so bad." Like, maybe that would have stuck with him a little bit, because he said when he was voting, like he was a little torn between voting for myself or Seth. That would have been cool. If you voted for Seth, then it would have been a tie for me and Seth. And then, well, I wouldn't have been able to vote and Nick wouldn't have been able to vote.
Yeah.
So, and it would have just been those 4 voting again.
Wow.
And maybe at that point, Adam would have switched and voted for me again.
Oh yeah, it would have been 2 on you, 2 on Seth.
Like if it was initially Amelia and Adam voting for Seth and Callie and Seth voting for me, and they had to vote again, Adam might just switch and vote for me at that time.
Yeah, probably. So Alyson, there's nothing you could do. There's nothing you
I think that is true. I think there's
Yes.
nothing that I could have done that would have got me any farther than it did. And certainly everybody thought I was a winning threat. So maybe there really wasn't a path for me to the end other than myself winning for myself, which is why I said I only trust myself and control my own destiny.
You played the best you could have played, and you played very well.
Thank you.
Something to be proud of. And you've only progressed. Like this is your second game. You've done better. So now the next game, obviously, you're just gonna win.
I honestly think I'm gonna win. Yeah. Oh, I do have one regret, not game wise, but after I got voted out, again the tears came, but they were like they were sad but like happy, and I contained them until I was alone. But I got some standing ovations when I got voted out. And like the crowd, the volunteers, the people were like cheering really loudly, and I really wish that I looked up and looked at them, because I was like a little to myself and like, okay, this is it. But I wish that I like saw their faces, because that sticks with me. Like I hear that still, like I hear the applause and see the silhouettes. But I wish that I saw the faces.
Well, I'll go through the footage after this, and I'll send you personally a clip if I can find it.
Yeah, I feel like I don't know who's angry to have it. Maybe Will, where he was positioned. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, and I definitely poured my heart out again to George as I was giving my final confessional, but I was just so happy and proud.
Well, okay. Is there anything else you want to talk about?
I don't know. I feel like once we hang up, there will definitely be something I want to say. I didn't take any notes. I am surprised I remembered as much as I did in talking to you now. But I guess my takeaway is I went into Maine knowing how I wanted to play. I wanted to be vocal and put myself out there easily, and I definitely feel like I did that well. I'm super happy with how great I performed in most challenges. There were a lot of other great competitors, but I don't know. I stood out a lot, and I thought that was pretty cool. And I genuinely love the people that I got to meet, and making it to the end definitely gave me those relationships too, because it made me feel like I was fully a part of this and making it almost as far as I could go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was great. And I am very thankful and grateful to have been a part of this fun season.
Yay.
Yeah.
Well, it was so nice talking with you, Alyson.
Thank you.
I'm glad we could do this. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Bye.
All right. See you later.